What's going on, Args? I am XingKazma, and this is Anamana, excuse me. And today you're listening to our Oracle Fleet Podcast, episode 13 of your weekly podcast for PSO2, news and information, especially for that of the global servers. Today we are joined by Uber Elite, who is a PSO2 speedrunner and min-maxer. He does also stream on Twitch and is a partner streamer. Welcome to the show, buddy. And we also have another partner streamer today, Imakuni, streams a wide range of variety games on Twitch, including that of the Phantasy Star series. I hope you two are both doing well today. It is great to have you. How are you guys?
I'm doing great.
It's good to hear.
I kind of missed all of that.
It's always like who says hi first.
Yeah. Both at the same time. Best way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
With Musto this time, guys. How are you doing today, guys?
Doing fantastic, thank you.
I'm doing great, thank you.
With justice, I love it. Well, again, how about yourself, Anamana? How are you doing today, King?
Not too bad. Definitely missing New Genesis. But I'm taking a break today from running Profound Darkness now that I've got my Claws weapon.
Oh snap! All right, did you ace slot it?
Yes, it's all done except for like some of the newer fixes.
King, I know that thing is kind of a pain to get nowadays. A lot of grinding involved.
Actually, I know Uber's been running it. You've pretty probably got all your Claws units and stuff, right?
I'm actually holding off until boost week hits, just because I actually sold a bunch of my modules in preparation for if we get a Divide Quest update.
Yeah.
And I did get one unit, so I have 2 units, and I actually don't have my 50 runs yet. I'm at like 46 probably. But I do have my weapon, and I have 2 units, so.
What I know that you're like a big title person. What title rewards do we have for running TPD?
50 clears gets you a stone. The rest is just Dymas at 10, 30, and 40 clears.
Okay.
Or 10, 20, and 40. I think there's none for 30. There's a weird skip in there for some reason. I don't know why.
Yep.
Oh, I can tell you. It's definitely... It skips 20.
Oh.
It goes 10, 10, 30, 40, 50. And I know this because I checked it and I was like, oh, how many clears do I have? Why is the next title 30 after 10?
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, technically, do we only have the ability to get about, 2 Klaus weapons right now?
2 right now, 3 after the next update. Because they already announced the campaign that's going to give us another stone.
Okay, that's going to be fun. All right, yeah.
I'm pretty
hyped for that.
Do we get a new mission pass next week, or is it the fortnight after that?
It's new, because I believe this is the last week.
This is definitely the last
4?
week. Yeah, this is definitely the last week, because I've maxed my mission pass since last week.
Yep. Good to know.
All right, so when does the new mission pass start by any chance? Just to get a date for that.
I can bring it up now.
Should be the 31st.
31st.
Unless they extend the previous one, which has happened on JP because of weird stuff.
Yeah, we had that weird mission pass that went for 2 weeks as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is better than what JP had to deal with, because they had a several month long mission pass or something.
Wow.
The one that broke, right? And we had to refund our points? I think that's the way it's
I don't know what the details was, but they were on the same mission pass for ages.
So it does finish on the first. Finished on the first.
I remember distinctively there was one that it actually broke. So when I came on JP, I tried to activate the mission pass. I could never see it, but I was still getting not the rewards, but I was still getting the tiers for them. And I was told that I had to kind of refresh it for mission badges. I think it was either mission badges or something else, but basically I just had to get it all back and then buy another mission pass for the next month. It was really
they had the big problem. They had the big problem with the passes, didn't they? With the actual what you'd unlock the gold stuff with. Yeah.
So, sorry. I love the side piece conversations. I really do. Actually, I'm really interested about the questions we had today because for you guys today, we have questions about your history with PSO2, and we're going to talk a little bit about the closed beta, as I know both of you participated, as well as Anamana as well. But my question, Uber, we'll start with you. When did you actually start your Phantasy Star series experience?
This actually is funny because I actually mostly experienced it early on at like a friend's house playing PSO on GameCube, and that was interesting. I never had it myself, but it was really fun when I played it at a friend's house. Outside of that,
different?
I kind of didn't play it much outside of that until PSO2, so that's like the main one.
Yep. I think that's.
I know a lot of people actually started with PSO.
Yeah, I started with Dreamcast, but I feel like I didn't really play until the GameCube and Blueburst.
How about you, Ema?
So for me, it's a similar situation where, friends of mine had the GameCube version, episode 1 and 2. And I wanted it, and I never got it because, that game became really, really expensive later on after, like, the first release of it. So I never got it. And then my major experience with Phantasy Star was getting to Phantasy Star Universe and playing that on Xbox. Loved it, found a whole group of friends, and I was like, oh, I remember the Phantasy Star games. Yeah, let me go play this then. Loved every minute of it, and then the servers died. And, before that happened, there were private servers for Blueburst. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna play Blueburst then. I want to play the original Phantasy Star Online. And then here I am, still playing Blueburst.
Would that actually be your most played at this point?
I would probably say yes, but I honestly couldn't tell you. I remember that I had at least 3,000 hours in Universe alone.
Wait, single player or just playing all by yourself online?
That was online.
Wow.
Just the online.
Yep. Yeah, I played it on I played it on PS2 for some point, and that was honestly the worst experience. But mostly I played it on PC.
I heard the the Phantasy Star experience on PS2 wasn't so grand.
No.
No.
You walk into
a lot of
Rathon Meadow and fight Dragon with 6 players, and I hope you like PowerPoint presentations. Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I would be so frustrated, like living in 2020 and seeing how far we've come, and then having that game like re-released with the same issues. I'd be so frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
But like, so it goes. Okay, so help me out with this timeline again, because I don't think it goes. PSO, not Blueburst, but PSU, and then PSO.
Kind of, yeah. There's a few things in between. I don't know if Emma wants to give the official timeline.
My timeline of how I played it?
Just like the releases.
Release date?
Like the main
not even
PSO.
The main PSO should literally be episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. So that includes Blueburst, because that was like 2005.
Yep. Blueburst is episode 4, yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes Universe, I assume Ambition of the Illuminous immediately after. And then the portable games.
Was portable before Ambition? I think possibly that might be a thing.
Possibly, but then there's also Zero, and I forgot where Zero fits in between everything as well, because that's a completely separate game as well.
Definitely. I think Zero was during the PSU era. No, it would have been, I think, maybe like 2006 or so. Like maybe.
I legit am going to look up when Zero came out, because I can't remember.
I actually just.
I'm actually looking for the PSO2 station image, because they like had all the games up there.
Oh yeah.
They were going through the history.
I posted
2008.
Like,
It came out
like
Christmas
PSO,
2008. So I'm pretty sure Ambition definitely came out before Zero.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was in between Portable, which I think I want to say yes.
I swear this timeline is just as complicated as the Kingdom Hearts timeline.
There was Portable
Yeah.
2 and then Infinity as well, and then we had Phantasy Star Online 2.
And Nova. There was Nova in there.
Nova,
somewhere.
yeah. That would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Was
That was.
around?
That's
the
a really
same time?
interesting game. I've been watching somebody else play it recently, and I kind of want to try it, to be honest. There's apparently a lot of similarities between NGS and Nova right now.
I actually just booted up Nova for the first time the other day. It's got a lot of introduction tutorials, which is hard to get through.
I mean, that's really good though, because I know at least with PSO2, if you weren't there day one, it was kind of hard to get the game afterwards. It's kind of like, yeah, it was kind of like playing a Dark Souls game. You just kind of get thrown in and have to find your own way. There's like small things every now and again that'll lead you down the right path, but you have to kind of really figure out the in-depth part of it on your own. So seeing it, even with New Genesis, they had like a lot of tutorial images that popped up every time you did a side quest, something a little different. That was really new, and I love that because it's going to get people more in the game. You know, they able to see everything.
Yep.
But speaking of you guys' history, that's a lot of history. I'm going to actually take a minute to look back at this timeline because I only played back with the first Phantasy Star. And that was when I was really young, and then I never actually played online. Coming up on Xbox 360 and all that stuff, I never got into online MMO until a little bit afterwards. So this is fairly new to me. And when I did, it was stuff like Elsword and right. So and it always came to the thing of like trying to find something to keep me playing games. And I think PSO is one of those things that like it keeps me held even for like years now. I'm able to keep going back and back because there's always something that brings me back. So my next question for you guys is like, what keeps you all playing PSO? Kuni, we'll start with you. Like, what keeps you playing?
What keeps me from playing PSO? Honestly, I love the social interactions with it. Like, I can boot up a game and I can spend, hundreds of hours by myself playing a single player game. But when it comes to a multiplayer and RPG, especially as something as PSO where you sit there and you grind out weapons and try to get the best gear, the best stats, build possible, it's more fun with friends.
Yep, I agree with that.
And just the community just drives me to just keep playing as well as the content.
Yep. Absolutely.
Agree with that. Uber, how about yourself?
PSO2 is a really high skill cap game, to be honest, and so there's tons of reason for me to keep playing. Like, I'm always trying to improve here and there every so often, and it's really the case in content like Endless Quest, where you can push yourself really, really hard in that and kind of try and improve every day or try to come up with new strategies and all of that. And I'm still working on improving my gear, but even more than anything, I'm trying to get better at the game. So that really keeps me going a lot. Community helps as well, for sure.
Mm-hmm. You've got the carrot or the stick on the Endless title, right? On Summoner?
I've got the first one. The second one is really, really hard. I think that's still in the single digit count on JP, and on global, I don't think anybody has it on Summoner, so.
What's the reward for getting those titles?
Star Gems.
Okay.
And bragging rights, I guess.
The best thing
Yeah.
True. So aside from that, because I know you guys talking about Endless Quest, I don't know. I think I do those things wrong. Every time I run Endless Quest, I know I'm pretty decent with Luster, but I cannot make it past I think it's like 2 mil, 3 mil. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I just suck at the game. I know this. But what kind of content do you guys find the most enjoyable when you're playing? Like when you hop on you have nothing. What is something that you know you're having fun for the next couple of hours? Uber, we'll start with you this time.
Yeah, Endless is pretty good. Although enjoyable, sometimes it can be really frustrating if you're like, you know, sometimes you're just having a bad day and like nothing's going right. You throw your Nifta out and it goes on some random mob behind you, and you're like, that's not where that's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I lose like 15 seconds on the stage now. And so yeah, Endless is definitely one of those. Divide is kind of all right. I've honestly been a little burnt out on it, and I really hope we get the expansion soon because I really want, like, I think it's really just the variety of the stages is, like, I've played Divide a lot. I played it on JP over, like, 50 million score. I've done it on NA, probably close to 50 million score now. So it's getting a little repetitive, so I'm really hoping we get the new stages soon because Divide is fun.
Yeah. What is actually in the stages? Was it like 31 to 35?
Yeah, and it updates the old ones as well with some new stages too.
Okay. And that's...
So yeah.
Was Shiva the last boss on that one? Like actual Shiva?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's VR. It's supposed to be training.
Yep, yep.
So it's like Shiva's there, but then there's like 2 more bosses that they add inside. I don't want to cause spoilers, I guess. But they add like 2 more bosses, and then we get like the Omega map, which I really love. The Omega map, it's so good. It's like a 16th century Victorian Europe, basically. So good.
Yeah, and Earth.
Was that Earth, or was that
we've got
Omega?
Earth, we've got Omega. Like they add Earth stages, Omega stages, and they add some Episode 6 stuff as well. So there's a few more bosses. And that's what I was talking about with the modules earlier, because in particular, there were 2 modules I sold, and that would be Exegol and Varuna. So, yeah. Those are in there.
Do you think the prices of modules are going to come down?
Perhaps. I would imagine if we do get it, they probably will go down because there's other rewards in the boss stages that you really want.
Yeah.
So, well, at least if you're doing any modding content, especially pushing Endless.
Yeah.
I would imagine the more people that come and play PSO2, the more modules that would go up and they would get.
Yeah,
but
I guess
if it's like a scarce amount, then it would still be like the high price.
Yeah, I guess if New Genesis blows up, we could see the market just completely change as well, with everyone coming back and maybe like with content burning out on New Genesis early days when there isn't much content. Maybe people go back and we'll just see that stuff get cheaper.
Please?
Yeah, perhaps.
So, Cooney, how about you? What keeps you playing? Oh no, we already. Yeah, wait.
We're up to the content that you enjoy.
Yeah. So my favorite question, because I love this. This always talks about you guys the PSO2. But what is your favorite moments with PSO2?
Oh wait, we haven't asked Emo what the favorite content they enjoy is.
Oh, I thought we. Oh no,
he
just playing. That's
We
great.
skipped over that. It's okay.
We got so long in conversation. So yeah, what content do you find the most enjoyable when you play PSO2? I'm sorry.
That's all good.
I love doing urgents and triggers, especially just running that with Alliance members, friends, whomever I can find really. Divides are also my favorite because it does switch up the monotony of just grinding things and killing things. It's like, oh, I gotta do like little tasks and stuff in these stages too. Nice.
Yeah.
But I actually haven't done Endless yet. I haven't attempted it at all.
It's hard.
I've heard, and I'm just like, I'm waiting to just upgrade all my stuff at the moment. So there isn't a whole lot that I've been really attempting besides triggers and divide, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm content doing that. But it's also the fact that I didn't really play JP. I played the beta in JP and stopped at episode 1. So I remember all the Matterboard stuff. But yeah. all the other things, I'm like, nope, didn't do it. So this is completely new content for me. So I'll be okay with this for like another year or so.
Yeah, you know what I don't miss from the start of PSO2 was walking through a free field and then a cutscene starting.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
I remember RC kind of explained meta boards, and I'm so sorry I had to go through that.
It wasn't fun, especially when everyone in the beta didn't know what was going on. We're trying to decipher the matter board for English players.
That actually sounds pretty, like, if done correctly, that sounds like a very interesting story top, like not a story top, but like a story mechanic, you know? Like something that I would actually love to see. Just like say we're just walking through the open field. We find ourselves in some secret cave, and next thing you know, like some boss from old school Phantasy Star just pops up, redesigned and everything with a whole story. Yeah. Something like that, just interesting, you know. Mm-hmm. But the next question, what would be you guys' favorite PSO2 moment through your year? I know it's been like a whole year of PSO2. Can you believe it? Uber, we'll start with you, buddy.
There's probably two of them in particular. The first one, I do also do TA runs. I've been a little bit off of it recently, and I actually do the current one, but the current one is actually Tokyo, and that's the only TA that I've managed to get first in so far. I got 211 in that 4 months ago, back when we were on Atlas CX, I believe. And that was first across every global server, I think. So that one I was really happy about. But I think on to top that one was definitely getting Forever Loner on Summoner. Not only just getting Forever Loner, but going all the way to lap 3 Castle. I beat it by 21 million score for the requirement. On good. My first run after upgrading my units by like a total of 120 attack.
Wow. That's actually pretty good. So, would you say most of that's tied to the gear upgrade or just the luck of having a perfect run?
I did have a very lucky run on lap 2 end, but the gear upgrade was a massive deal because the way Endless scales is you save little bits of time here and there, and all of that adds up over time, and you end up, suddenly saving an entire like minute or two over the course of 30 to 40 minutes, right? So the gear upgrade definitely contributed, but I also had some good luck, and with getting double bonus stage in lap 2. I did have Magatsu on every lap as well, so
that's the one thing I don't like.
But the thing Magatsu I'm actually okay with because I dodged weak point Navirius at every lap, and that one is awful.
Yeah.
I like even the best PSO2 players will say that like weak point ultimate Navirius is just painful. Yeah. It is not fun. And it's the one thing that the devs would not back off on. Because they were apparently worse than that when Endless first came out.
Okay, well that's good to know.
I might have to try this out now. I never knew it was like even running through Endless as much as I have, I never knew it was like a lot of depth to it. So I'm definitely gonna be interested in trying it out again.
Oh, there's tons of depths. Like people were crazy about it, and there's still new strats coming out every day.
That's like the good thing about speedrun communities, right, is that no matter how old the game is, there's always something new popping out.
Mm-hmm. As long as it's not like abusive or anything and questionable, right?
Yeah. Like as long as it's not like tool assisted and stuff like that.
No out of bounds stuff and all that.
Yeah.
So how about you, Kuni? What's your favorite PSO2 moment?
Oh gosh, to be honest with you, I don't know if I exactly have a favorite PSO2 moment because my memory is that of a goldfish at times.
Same.
But I can tell you absolutely some incredible funny moments and stuff. I remember a couple weeks ago, TPD stuff. Friends of mine are just like, give it up. You're not gonna get a unit. This and that, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm the queen of luck. You can't say that to my face. I'm gonna defy you right now. And they were like, I don't believe you. So we finished the run. Cloud's unit drops.
Damn it.
They were legs.
Cloggers.
And it came with Skydance support.
Oof.
Wait,
Right.
And I was
what?
like,
It
would you like
dropped
to
with
say that
Skydance?
to my... Yeah.
Yeah, it actually very commonly drops with some of the rare S-grades. Because my arm had fortified attack too.
Wow.
Yeah, I would know because I have 3 Klaus legs now.
Pity you can't.
I have three whole sets of legs, a
So-
back, and no arms.
If you were playing as an octopus, you'd be fine, but unfortunately...
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't equip 3 legs. It's a shame.
You can't even dismantle them, can you?
No!
You can't even cube them yet, which I hope they add the cubing soon.
That would help
Yeah.
so much. At least the one that I made with the modules. I would cube that or whatever. But, you know, the one has... I forgot what exactly it is. It's like health increase or something. And I'm like, I don't need this, and I'm probably never going to use this, but I don't want to dismantle it just because it has an SSA on it.
You could always use them for alts
Yeah.
as well, I guess. You got 3 of them for free. Or
Yeah.
3 total characters.
Exactly.
I wish at some
There's some
point
ad
they just let
fixing
us
things
trade them.
too.
Mhm. We're getting up to
There's
the
some ad.
fun.
Yeah.
We're getting up to the fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Like, I wish at some point they would let us trade them because, I mean, it gets to a certain point in PSO2, kind of run out of things as far as like high-end gear. Like, especially in JP right now, if we were just able to trade that rarity for gear, help out those people who are just getting into the game more, I think that'd be very helpful.
I think
Um,
that's probably gonna come with like New Genesis, maybe.
I'd really hope so, yeah. Because then you can just help your friends out. They'd be like, oh, I want to play base PSO2. Well, let me show you what it's like. Here's some free gear, you know, to start off any content you want, you know?
You get Guardian
Make it
Soul
a lot
capsules.
easier. Yeah. But what about you, Anamana? You have any new experiences, any new memories?
I've had a lot of TPD runs with Tier 1 Alliance, which Uber's a part of as well. That's been pretty good. And then Divides as well has been pretty fun. But other than that, like all my hype lately has just been with playing the new Genesis beta.
That's fair. That's very fair. Oh man, it was actually really fun playing with you guys too. Hopefully we can kind of get something going on with everybody going to the same ship with New Genesis, so we can keep that sort of fun going. I don't know, wishful thinking, you know.
Yeah.
I will say I actually do have a new memory myself. This was kind of a tickler. So we tried to do a final limit run, and I wanted to say, oh, I just want to go get my Talon Schneider, just one more try. Right when the run stopped, literally everyone but 2 people left that run. And we just decided there was no reason at all. Like, no one was arguing, no nothing. Everyone just, I guess, either DC'd or just left. And me and 2 other people ran that quest. And it was about 40 minutes of running Final Limit. 2 other people. And it felt very good because I basically got a 1v1 with Shiva. It was just 30 minutes of me fighting Shiva. And I'm just like, my hands are so tired. By the end of the fight, I had to stop the stream because I got so tired. My hands were sweating. But it was a self-accomplishment.
Did you get the Talon Schneider?
No, I did not, actually.
Okay.
I failed. As far as like letter grades go, I think we got a C.
Yeah.
How bad it was. It's really bad. But now we get to the super fun question. The things we've been waiting for the most. Your guys' first impression on a closed beta of New Genesis. Anamana, let me start with you, man. What was your first impression on closed beta?
I think the first thing was after watching it for so long, it just didn't feel real, like playing it. And then just everything I had watched, it felt exactly the same as what I had watched. And so like all the things that I was, like the movement and stuff, it just felt like it should. That was basically the first impression, like running out and fighting and stuff. I didn't really have like a super hype. It was just more of the excitement of just being there and playing it, right? That was
Right.
pretty much it. I think I had
Like one of those dream come true scenarios.
pretty much, yeah.
I'm just here right now.
Like the period of coming up to a new game that I've been waiting for so long. Like, there's only a few games that I can say there's been like that. Like Final Fantasy VIII was one back in the day, and then Phantasy Star Universe, when that was coming out, was another one. I haven't had many periods like this where I've been really excited for something to come out, and then it comes out and it just feels good playing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something different. And I can kind of understand where you're coming from with that. You know, it's playing it so early on, knowing that realistically we were just thinking, oh man, it's so long away before we actually get this in our hands, and then finally stepping in there in that world at first hand. But it's really different than watching videos or watching someone else play through it for like an hour, like they did in the dev stream.
Yeah.
It holds more of a value to it, so I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Uber? You have any first impression?
First impression was I was surprised that I didn't have to, go through much in terms of like tutorials or any of that to like actually start playing the game and all of that. So that personally left like a really good first impression for me, because a lot of the time I might end up, having to go around in the lobby just learning a whole bunch of stuff like that before I can actually, play the game. And
Yeah.
that much is good. And for what it's worth, the tutorials I did get were very useful. So not like overbearing or anything, like very straight and to the point.
Not like opening a menu and then there's like a pop-up and then you change tab and there's a pop-up like PSO2 is currently.
Yeah.
So in your personal suggestion, would that be the best way to go about walking someone through like their first couple of hours of PSO2? Do you think people who are coming for the first time would actually understand what's being told to them?
I think so far. I mean, like, obviously, it's going to depend on translations a little bit more for us, because, we were playing the game in Japanese and all that, but
Yeah.
for all the translations that I had just automatically even, it was pretty straight and to the point, and I think the most important thing is that you get people to actually, get into the combat and all of that, so they can actually experience combat and, try things out quickly. And that's, I think that was good. Especially because you go into an area that you're going to go into quite a bit in the future. Like, even when you're max level or whatever right now, you're going to still be going into that area, right?
Mm-hmm. I feel like, so when you were talking about like the introduction and tutorial stuff, one thing I think we will need to see is how story applies to it, and and tasks and stuff that do keep people playing, because like at this point you could just jump over the wall and just start playing the game, right? Or you could follow those introductions, but once you've done at least in the beta, once you've done the things for Master Chief or whatever that dude's name is, you go back and forth, do a few tasks, you go to an area and fight, and at that point it kind of goes, all right, it's like Phantasy Star Universe. Ema would probably know how this feels. You just start, it's like just go and do your own thing. So hopefully we got some more stuff guiding us to keep moving towards endgame.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Honestly, I don't know. I think some of it may be blocked off by content. I don't know what they're going to add towards endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Like once we get to level 50, we get more things. Hopefully we do changes in that, because that's just going to bring more depth to the game. And I don't know. I have a lot of faith in this. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But
I think
Tony,
the combat
what about
power
you?
system. For one last thing, I
Go
think
ahead,
the
go
combat
ahead.
power system, like, will help with new players figuring out, like, oh, this is what I need to do to become more powerful, right? Because they're like, oh, I changed this, I could just gain combat power, right?
Yeah,
Or the battle power, or whatever.
Very simple as a system. Like when I made a video and I had some people saying that it was going to be elitist, but it was very easy to upgrade that process. And if you're trying to get high power early on, you're probably doing it too early, right?
Yeah, I mean, they did fix a major issue that would have been a problem in CBT2, which stamina gave way too much battle power, apparently.
Really?
That, yeah.
And to be
They
honest
also
with you, I
nerfed
think
the
it's a lot
options.
better. I think it's a lot better than having an expert requirements mode. You know, like just kind of blocking people out of the content. You can just encourage them to just gear up. You know,
Yeah.
and it just sets the tone for helping people rather than exiling, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And the systems
But,
behind them
Tony-
are good too, so.
Yeah.
Yes. But Cooney, what about you? Any first impressions?
Oh gosh, I mean, just the graphics alone, I was really surprised about, like, you know, just the minute little details, like the water reflections with like the cannon and whatever. I mean, it was so good that it literally chugged my CPU.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember.
While playing it.
I was watching you like fight the Gigantics, and it was a little bit stuttery, but
Yeah, I'm not sure what still caused that. I don't know what setting it was. I don't know if it was effects. I don't know if it was other players. I don't know if it was other players' effects.
Mhm.
And I couldn't really determine what it was, but I love how pretty everything is.
Yeah.
What I'm most looking forward to with like everything is like how the world is, because you know, it's like everything looks mechanical, like the world itself. Like, I wonder what they're going to do with that. I don't know how they're going to implement story at all, but if they do, I really, really hope that they bring back like government quests.
No, like
Where-
from PSO Blue Burst.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, where you go to the thing for the story, and it's like, all right, go out here, and you'll find out a little bit more about the plot that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it would work really, really well for New Genesis if they go that route.
Did you notice that, like in the waterfall area, it seemed like there were almost like big metal doors in the cliff face? That are those going to open up, or is that just like an aesthetic thing?
I don't know. I honestly can't tell because we don't really know anything about the setting or the environment yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, yeah, we see that, you know, it could be like where we're in VR still. Everything could just be artificial. It could be another planet that turned artificial. Who knows at this point?
It's actually got a lot of when you say it like that, it reminds me a lot of in Destiny. There's a race of robots called Vex, and what they do is they take a planet and they convert it into like a mechanical thing, and that's what that reminds me of when you say it that way.
Yeah, because that I just have a bunch of like theories, like, you know, from like I said, like the first impressions that I got of you know, the setting and everything. But I'm just like, oh man, what is this deal? But as far as things, because I only played Foe. I don't know if you want me to get into like class stuff yet, or like anything with gameplay, but I really enjoyed Foe, but it felt off.
Yeah, I agree.
I enjoy the uncharged charge system where you have to stack uncharged techs and then pull off a charged one to detonate it and do massive damage. I don't think it should stack up to 7. I think it should stack up to 6. Or not even 6, 3. I think it should stack up to 3 for Barda.
Yeah.
For the other ones, I don't exactly know. It feels like just doing charged on anything besides Barda is just the way to go about it. And that all of the G techs that they gave us felt useless. All of them.
I really like Gizonde because as a techer, I probably played it completely different to the way Uber plays it. Like, I'm not huge on cancelling and stuff, but the way I was going in was I was running in, especially on the Urgent Quest boss, I was throwing up Gizonde so it had the almost it was almost like Zamverse, right? And as I'd hit enemies, it would basically do a little zap as well, and you could also charge that, and I think that would synchronize with that uncharged version also. But I didn't mind that the way that worked. But as to the other skills, I've definitely found myself using Barda over G Barda.
Yeah. Gazande is definitely the one that would be pretty good from what I experienced. I didn't get to use lightning techs and mobbing too much because I was like super focused on trying to match weak element too much because PSO2 habits. But then again, I guess PSO2 habits Force doesn't really care about weak element as much. So I should have messed with lightning techs more, but yeah, I kind of had the same experience with Force that Force in general I had a lot of complaints with.
Where would you start?
So
I mean, Gafoy charge I feel like that takes like a second and like 1.2 seconds or something to charge, and just what?
It's too long. I totally agree.
Yeah.
It takes forever to charge. Also, the graphic doesn't match the hitbox at all because the graphic has the fire coming out of the ground, but the way it determines where it hits is actually from top to bottom, which that's kind of weird.
Yep.
But it takes way too long for the amount of damage it does too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole issue with because uncharged techs are better, charged PP recovery doesn't make sense. Photon Flare felt underwhelming. And just overall, I didn't really see much reason to do it over Tekker. Like every caster or somebody that wanted to do casting stuff would just go Tekker, and if they wanted to do anything with Rod, they would just sub Force.
Yep. That's the problem we have with Hunter as well, right?
Yeah, Hunter doesn't have any damage in its main class, period, so it only had Warcry and Iron Will, so there was like a whole thing in the prologue too where they're like, people think that Hunter and Force are the only ones that have meaningful subclass skills, and I think that's the wrong view entirely. I think it's the problem that Hunter and Force don't have meaningful main class skills.
Yep. Sorry,
like I would have reason to run just about anything as a sub because like some of their weapons and stuff are good, and I like the fact that you're not just getting a sub for this has damage or utility or whatever. It has another weapon that's enough to use it, like Tekker Fighter. You're not gaining utility from Fighter in terms of skills, but you gain access to Knuckles, which can cover for something like Tekker's canceling issues.
Mm-hmm. King, you were going to go into something?
Oh, no, I was going to say, actually, this is a perfect topic to talk about because this goes right into one of our other questions about, like, improvement. So it's actually that, because I didn't really play text at all. Get a chance to. I was so focused on
Fighter.
As I always, my favorite term, pure joy. I was just mesmerized. I was worried about just kind of playing. So I was just always playing either Fighter or Hunter. I got to play Tekker for probably like 10 minutes. And I put it back. So like listening to all of this is definitely helping me understand what I didn't myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go into whatever beta we have next, we can help with more. But I will say, like, aside from the tech, I do agree with, like, my main problem with Hunter was that we didn't really have any class skills. And a lot of that really made me want to play Fighter instead, because I felt as though I was able to have more. Like, I had my Hunter's physique, then I also had my overload, and I had all my counters. Fighter itself was just so fast and fluent, whereas on Hunter, just even though it was able to cover a wide range, I was able to have more aerial combat than with my Fighter. It just also still felt clunky, and it just felt like I was playing with a katana, but it was actually a sword. I was fooling myself, and I don't know. It was a weird thing. But I've definitely been like writing up my reports on that because that's something that I would love to talk about in future videos or whatever, and see if that actually. But that definitely goes into what as far as improvements go that we needed in the game. Oh, sorry, not improvement, but yeah, what needs improvement? But what did we actually like? And Kuni, we'll start with you on that one. What is something that you really like that stood out to you?
Something that I really like that stood out to me in New Genesis, Cocoon. I love the Cocoon quests. I want to see just more. It's literally the Breath of the Wild little segments and challenges in PSO that you can play with 3 other friends.
Yep.
And like I went into this like a little bit when we recorded like our final thoughts when we actually did the stream, but I would love to see like, you know, a leaderboard for like time attack for it and just challenges and getting little rewards from like replaying the cocoons, so that we could also help new users to gain their skill points, because that's how we're going to gain our skill points for our tree. And I am just so excited to do that.
That would actually be really cool. Like we get star gems and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we got like star gems for like, even if it's like 5 or 10 star gems for just like, oh, you helped out a newbie or something this week. Good job.
I think
I would
what's
love that.
interesting as well is that we only saw, was it 3 or 4? Was it 4? 3 in a tower. But we got the surrounding area, how many cocoons are going to be there, and then when we get the full map, like how many more? I'm expecting maybe 30, maybe 40.
Yeah, about that much, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And they can always expand it.
And they
We don't
could
know
even
how big the map is going to really be, right? Because we can only see a portion of it.
they could even be dungeons.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like all of them may not just give us skill points. I feel like, because didn't, that was the actual main character. So the hero quest, they gave you the extra skills. My bad. I was thinking like, you know, some of them may not even give you skill points. Some of them may give you something, a weapon, a updated skill, like an advanced version of your skills, maybe.
Maybe. I know that for sure cocoons will be giving skill points though. That's what Sega's at least come out and said on official blogs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the good thing about that though is, like, talking on that, is that it's account wide. You complete a cocoon, that skill point is unlocked account wide, because when they opened up the second server, I went in and I recorded the starting experience in complete, and I could just at the start spec all 6 points, so that was good.
And that's actually going to carry more incentive. I love that too, because that carries more incentive to go and open up more characters on more ships without the fear of saying, oh, now I have to get all these skill points back and level up this entire character, and then I have to straight from zero. I at least have some middle ground there where I can kind of have the upper hand on getting myself back up there so I can play with my friends on other ships. Really love that. What about you, Over? Anything that you like that stood out to you in New Genesis?
Yeah, the cocoons were pretty good, although I'm a little worried about the account-wide stuff because, like, an older player helping out a new player or whatever, it's going to be like, you know, a year down the road, it might be an issue of, if you're trying to help somebody that's new, trying to tell them what they need to prioritize, because it's been so long since you didn't have the skill that you don't even know what it's like without it.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah. Graphics were really good, and I'm not, like, a huge graphics person, but combat felt great on Fighter and Hunter both, in my opinion. They improved Hunter a lot in the CBT, it seems like, because I know they said they were going in with cancel timings being changed for them. So Hunter definitely improved. I like the new wand PA for Tekker.
The triple bonk.
Yeah, the wand attacks feel really good. It's just being able to, you know, dodge damage or counter or whatever is that's the only thing that's kind of frustrating right now. And yeah, it's really fun, and the 32 player MPAs for the farming and stuff, that was surprisingly fun, even though it's kind of like just, you know, kind of like Ultimate or whatever when you're farming the Northwest Swamp area or whatever. It's kind of just like, you know, running a free field or an Ultimate back in like episode 3 or whatever. That was actually surprisingly fun, which I didn't really expect, and the huge bosses, the Gigantics, added into that, although they were really frustrating to run into because it was like, you know, everybody here is leveling. We're not going to be able to kill this.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, like the whole thing that was preventing people from defeating the Gigantics was literally just the weather, right?
The weather, the weather system's really cool, but it doesn't last long enough. It's so fast.
Yeah.
Like when it starts storming, it goes away after like 2 to 3 minutes, and Gigantix disappears as well. So
I feel like that's something they could probably improve on, because if we look at the way weather works in real life, it's like you could have a whole day that's rainy, and then you could have a day that's just sunny, or maybe fog or something like that. It'd be cool if they really kind of doubled down on that instead of just 5 minutes of rain or 5 seconds of rain kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like it's a preset time, like it's 2 to 3 minutes or whatever. But
yeah,
I think it's a little bit short, and even the day-night cycle I think might be a little bit short as well. Because I know some people that were into like screenshotting and all of that were having the same issue. So even outside of the gameplay perspective, there's issues with that. Because if you miss that, you're AFK for like 50 minutes because you missed your lighting.
I guess as well is like they could just be like checking that stuff on set times so that they have that perfect window of test and all that stuff. It could change with the full release.
Yeah.
So I guess. Oh, sorry. You go, King. You go, King.
Oh no, I mean, my only thing about anything that I like from the game, actually, whoa, it was just in my head. It was really just the exploration. That's really all I wanted to do. I was just like, dude, like when we were talking about going across the bridge.
Yes, yeah.
I got all giddy.
Yep.
If you could see my face when you told me, I got extremely giddy, and it was because, like even recently I was playing Genshin Impact, and they opened up a new biome. I was like, no biome, and the thing that I love about that kind of stuff is just how much work that these companies put into designing stages, and it goes for like the little small things, even what Kuni was saying with all the like the small minute, as far as the terrain. There's always different enemies that are there, and I really wanted to explore new zones, but I was very happy because even in that main area that we got, there was like a canyon area, there was the like this really cute forest area, then there was the beach, then the forest, and it was like a regular forest, and then like a plain. So like really the exploration gets me, and I hope that they add a little more to that as far as like things that we can out there. Little festivals when we have I'm gonna say like events. Say if we have Cherry Blossom Festival, then everywhere is just cherry blossoms, petals flying up. Anyway, that was just something that I really loved.
I think.
But you about to say something?
I think to add on to the exploration thing, gathering was also kind of nice because, like, even when you weren't exploring or whatever, and you were like fighting enemies and stuff, you could just like go over and gather stuff real quickly because it's combat based. It's not like a separate action, and then just get back into the fight, right? So the fact that gathering is quick now and it's easy, that is a huge change for me.
Yeah. I think when I start either the next closed beta or with the full version, the first thing I'm going to do is just run out and gather stuff, like go through some routes, pick up some items just to get me set for the first few hours. But on going back to what King was saying about the bridge, because we were like exploring and I just said, look, check out this bridge going into like the icy area. I'm like, how cool is it going to be just walking down that once we get access to it, either if it's like based on level or clearance based on story. It just reminds me for some reason of, I don't know if anyone here has played like the first Guild Wars, but when you're walking through some of those areas, like with the big archways and stuff out, like the old ruined ones, it just reminds me of stuff like that, just walking through these big canyons. I'm excited to just go to new areas and have that feeling again.
I feel like this game is going to be bigger than we really think it is, especially with like the water exploration, the hidden keys that we've been seeing everywhere that we couldn't go into.
Yeah.
It just makes me happy. That's it. Just pure joy.
Some of those maps really look like it's going to be like, oh, there's just going to be a random boss spawn here because it's like a giant arena in a cavern in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
Like an old JRPG where That when you say it like that, it just reminds me of like Dragon Quest.
Please.
I mean, the other thing is too that even if they, use up whatever map they have set out, like expanding upon it doesn't just mean they have to, expand upon the world itself. Because did you see how many moons this planet has?
Yeah,
it has like 4 or 5 moons at least.
Yeah, that could be a
that night
teaser.
only lasts like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe other planets.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I think we were actually talking about that at some point too, about like being able to traverse to other planets.
There was something in Phantasy Star Universe where the whole Dark Files kind of stuff was tied to the planets aligning, right?
Yes.
So
the seal was broken on one of them, and therefore the seal on Falls, weekend, and he came out and he was like, "I'm here again. After 1,000 years, I'm finally free."
Yes.
Okay, what's her name?
Rita
I'm thinking of Power Rangers now.
Yeah.
yes, Rita Repulsa.
Make my monster grow.
You need arcs with attitude. Dude, honestly, first, okay, so this goes into the next question. About hopes for final release. I am hoping that when they do their first event, I need it to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because it has been a long time coming and it needs to happen. You just imagine the what is it, Gigamax enemies?
Yep.
And it's just a giant Rita Repulsa, or like, it could be a Megazord, it can be like a Corrupt.
Yep. The gold dog man thing.
Yes, oh my god, please, yes. Dude, this is gonna be awesome. That's all I want. If they give us that, they can have all of my money.
Yeah. I actually one thing I do hope they do is there was a lot of talk about customization of the run animation. People wanting to change the color of the sparks or the photon stuff for the photon dash, but also with us kind of starting to estimate how big the world might be, I think it'd be really cool if we get mounts if the world is really that big. I mean, at some point, I felt like even though we had Ryuka devices, sometimes I wasn't running fast enough to get to certain areas. So a mount would be very useful. And then also, maybe if that's the case or not the case, we had run animations where we could do like the cast style, or I don't know, maybe the character is a cast and they can turn into like a motorcycle or something like that would be pretty good.
Sonic the Hedgehog run animations in the shop, please.
Oh god.
And
there's so much potential.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One thing me and Mark were talking about was if they could have, like, you know how we had the jukebox, but we don't have personal quarters anymore, it seems?
Walkman?
If we could have our very personal ARCs MP3,
yep.
And when we purchase those CDs, we can listen to those soundtracks while out in the open world.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
God, I hope so. I'm just letting you know that mine's just gonna be Vamoso Carnival playing on loop.
That's the Samba de Amigo one, right?
Can I leave?
Yeah, it is.
No.
I would probably just have the outrun tracks.
Was that like a whole month or like a month and a half of that song?
I can't wait for it. It's gonna happen. I hope it happens in global. It's gotta happen.
I think, is it currently on JP? I don't know.
No, I haven't been on in like a week, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have the Easter lobby, and I saw a video that used that music, so I don't know what it actually has, but
please don't come back. I have PTSD of that song. So yeah, I mean, even go ahead.
The one thing I'm hoping for is potentially a bit more class skills, especially in terms of the whole balancing of classes and all of that, because yeah, there's definitely some pretty big issues with some class balance. I don't know of a single person right now that's extremely satisfied with Force. There's some that found it fun, I'm sure, but balance wise it is not there, it feels like. And there's the whole, subclassing stuff and all of that being an issue with Hunter as well. But the one that's kind of just weird right now is like Gunner is extremely strange, and I feel like that's the class that also just needs improvement overall. Like, it's strong, it does good damage, but the way it works is so messy. It doesn't have cancel timings, chain triggers buggy, all of that. So I really hope they focus on making sure that all the classes feel good and all, and especially in the case that we're probably going to get more classes. We're probably going to get Braver, Bouncer, and I'm a Summoner main, but I honestly don't feel like Summoner's coming at this point. I wouldn't mind it, but if it does come, I would honestly really like to see it, kind of changed a lot at this point.
Mm-hmm. I feel like in terms of the way the classes work, the frustration people have is based on at a class skill level. The photon arts, for the most part, and text seem fine. Obviously, we need more of those as well to have a bit more variety, but it just seems like the tuning's a little bit weird for some. Like Gunner, I feel like it was lacking any active skills. I just feel like I'm just shooting enemies and that's it. And obviously with the sound, the ting 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 kind of sound going all the time.
I forgot to complain about that.
Yeah. I did too. Yeah. I turned my volume down for active sound effects because I couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
God, please, Sega, focus on the sound. I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
This is even a problem in base PSO2 right now on the graphics update. The sound is awful. Yep. It is so bad. I don't want to play JP right now. That's how bad it is.
What was the main thing that was doing lots of sound again in the base PSO2 update?
Weak point hits.
Oh, that's right.
They're so loud, and then counter hits are super quiet. I've seen Braver players just non-stop complaining they cannot hear their counters anymore.
Yeah.
And some cases for Fighter as well, but it's mostly Braver right now. Braver is the worst case.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and sound gets really loud in 32-player MPAs when there's a bunch of people wailing on a boss, and when somebody else uses a fire tech, that is also extremely loud.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if they use it from far away, it shakes your screen like there is if a serious earthquake is an 8.1, this is a 15. It shakes it really bad.
Wow.
Not only that, but if New Genesis is going to be on Xbox, I don't know how that's going to happen. Yeah. So let me break it down for you, because I played, the beta for Xbox. With 12 people, the Xbox sound channels started breaking, cracks and pops really bad. With 32, I don't know what would happen. I figured it'd be a lot worse. So they really have to fix that.
Yep.
So I'm gonna add on to that one a little bit, because I think the way they expect people to play this game now is especially from their corporate standpoint, they're expecting you to either have a high-end Xbox One or to have an Xbox Series S or X. Because when the update for PSO2 JP came out and I got my PS5, that was the first thing I played on it, and it was gorgeous. Even with 12 people there, just going about doing whatever, I was able to play in full 60 frames, not a single frame drop. So I think that's what they would imagine, that's what they're expecting people should have by then. But even then, that's a very poor expectation to have when you have that many. So I do agree with you. It may mess up a lot of people's Xbox. Even if it released on PS5, it will probably destroy people's PS4s, PS5s, whatever.
I don't think it would short it or anything, just to interrupt. It's just that, it's just very loud, and, through speakers, it would just be hopping speakers, which I don't know if that could damage TV speakers with that popping.
Oh, I was just saying destroyed as in, the noise. I was just using it as the same thing. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't, blow up consoles or anything of the sort. But I did notice, though, that as we were going through the beta, every time they worked on a game and we came back in, I was able to play in a higher quality. By the end of the beta, I was playing in ultra settings, and my PC is very like low end, like it's mid. You know, it's a 5600 XT. Even something like that is not even as strong as what's in a PlayStation 5, really. If anything, the same amount of power. So to be able to play on ultra and still have like those 32-man lobbies, it does show that they're optimizing the game somewhat. So hopefully it can be fully optimized and that problem doesn't occur. But I do get.
Yep. That's fair.
Yeah.
I
think speaking of 32 mans, we only had like one 8-man zone, the combat zone, which oddly enough had better loot than the swamp area, even though it was a level 5 versus a level 10.
Yep.
But
urgent quest was like as well.
Yeah, I would like to see more lower player content. Like we have the towers and stuff and all of that. But like the combat zones and stuff, the other types of zones which are lower player, where you could potentially, you know, gather a few groups of friends, because gathering a group of 31 friends, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But like I would like to see more lower player content for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You're assuming I have friends. But last question of the day, guys, and this is actually something that's very important, because I actually would really love to hear you guys' opinions on this. But do you think PSO2 still continues to be like as popular as it is now? Genesis being out, like say it comes out.
I think obviously there's gonna be a hype period of New Genesis and everyone trying that out. I don't know how many people won't play New Genesis, but I think obviously we're going to hit some lulls with content releases and people are going to go back.
I can definitely see that. Like even during the beta period, I was just like, man, I really miss Luster right now. Let me go back to PSO2. So right when the beta ended, I just jumped right back. So I can understand that. Uber, how do you feel? You think PSO2 will still be as popular? Or populated?
I think the population might go down a little bit, but I think there's still going to be, you know, plenty of reason to play the base game, especially on the global side. On the JP side, I think it's definitely going to go down, but on the global side, you know, we're kind of rushing through content right now, and we're still, you know, getting new stuff right now, and people are still trying to, like, experience the game. So I think on the global side of things, if there is a drop-off, it's not going to be as much, potentially. And I think it might even potentially go up because of people that have been just waiting for New Genesis.
Yep.
That, you know, get through all of the content that's available, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do now. I guess I can do some PSO2 stuff or something, because kind of skipped out on that game.
Yep.
So, global side, I think it's going to be at least for a while. JP side, I think it's going to drop a little bit.
I can definitely agree with that.
I'm definitely in the same boat where I think that JP is just going to dip a little bit. I don't know how much, but it's definitely going to drop. Global, I think, is either going to rise or stay the same. Just because we don't have all the content yet. People are still going to play this. It only came out a year ago.
Yeah.
And who knows? Because of how global is, and you know, with Microsoft hosting the servers and everything, who knows? We might get extra content that JP will never get, just based on keeping the servers alive a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's fair. What about you, King?
How about you, Anamana? Oh,
I said my point first. You go.
I don't know. I think the population is definitely going to take a dip for a while. But considering if they play their cards right, and we get to mess around in between updates, like say New Genesis updates, but PSO2 will update in about a week or so, you know, or like we play around with the updates right, then maybe it'll be a good transition in between the two, where we'll have a pretty decent longevity of content going through both games. We have a decent time when we swap it. Still have fun with one, but as soon as we get done with this one has new content that we can go through.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it'll still be as populated. Yeah. Just being able to go back and grab some old stuff, or you know, and just bring it over to New Genesis and say, oh yeah, I had to go get my bars of ratio because it just came back out in PSO2 and I wanted to hear. So yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
For real.
But all in all, yeah. Huh?
I said for real.
But yeah, that's all of our questions. And honestly, this is really a good conversation because I know we haven't really all sat down and have like a real in-depth conversation about how we really felt about New Genesis. We had our little pieces every now and again. But I do appreciate you guys taking that time to, you know, come through and share your thoughts with us. It's really appreciated, and everything is really taken into consideration when it comes to how we're moving forward with New Genesis. But that's all the time that we do have for today. And I do want to ask you guys, where can we find you content? Cooney, we'll start with you. Where can we find you and your content?
My content is at twitch.tv/IMAKUNI. I'm basically only doing my Twitch stuff, so you can find me there.
Yep.
That's totally fine. And Uber, what about you? Where can we find you, buddy?
Twitch.tv/TheUberElite. And on Twitter, I'm the Uber Clips. I've been a little bit more active on Twitter recently, but trying to get back into that whole swing of things.
Hey man, I hope to see some of the content. I was actually watching a little bit of streams of New Genesis.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But yeah, you can find this podcast, guys, on any major podcast platforms. The live stream archives on YouTube, so be sure to give us a little bit. We'll update it soon. Thanks again for making the time to come chat with us, guys. We really do appreciate it. Anamana, you as well. Always have these weekly conversations.
Definitely.
I'm XingKazma. This is Anamana. This is our Oracle Fleet, and we will catch you next week. We'll see you next time, guys. Oh, but ho. That's one thing. Yeah, as always, every week. So, guys, Cooney and Uber, we do this thing every week where, like, we end off the podcast with a little line. You guys want to say it with us today?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the line is, until next time, and may your guiding light shine. The same thing that Kuna says at the end of our concerts. Y'all ready to say it?
Yep.
I'll try.
I can see Uber grimacing a little.
Until next time, and may your guiding light shine. On 3, right?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Until next time, and may your guiding light shine. All right, see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me.